Palak Bansal, teacher trainee, B.Ed 4th semester, Dialbag Educational Institute, Agra, is going to present on the topic Understanding Data and Data Sets. In this, we are going to cover the following topics: introduction of data, introduction of big data, introduction of data sets, and data science. Now, the question comes, what is a data? Data can be defined as an information or knowledge which can be represented or coded in some suitable form for better understanding. Raw data is a kind of primary data which is collected directly from the source. The collection of facts in forms of numbers, words, observations, and description of anything is called data. Data is prepared and collected for any specific reason, that is survey and analysis. When the data is organized systematically, it is known as information. Often the words information and data are used interchangeably, yet they are not the same thing. Data is a building block, whereas information gives meaning and context. In essence, data is raw. It has not been shaped, processed, or interpreted. It is a series of ones and zeros that humans would not be able to read. It is disorganized and unfriendly. Once data has been processed and turned into information, it takes on the context and structure. After converting the data into digital form, it is easy to save and share in different forms, that is electrical signals, optical, magnetic, or mechanical. There are various types of data: geographical data, cultural data, scientific data, financial data, meteorological data, and transport data. Let's discuss them in detail. Cultural data. The data related to cultural heritage is being used through big data computational methods. At present, people are creating completely digital culture by sharing their photos, writing posts, comments, making friends, videos, etc. The amount of content being surfaced on social media is astonishing. So, this type of data is present in huge amount now. Now, geographical data. Geographical data is the location-based data on the surface of the earth, such as roads, water bodies, public amenities, localities. The location data is useful for various objectives. A geographic information system, GIS, is used throughout many levels of education. Teacher can use the technology to teach maths and science subjects, using GIS software to connect students to global effects and concern. GIS can encourage critical thinking, promote global awareness, strengthen and extend technological skills, expand curriculum, introduce students to real-world technology applications. So what exactly GIS does? It combines maps and information database to produce graphic displays that allows users to see and manipulate data in a new ways. Now, next is transport data. The data related to transportation is known as transport data. The road network plays the major role in it. It can be used for many purposes, that is traffic counts, travel behavior inventory, land use inventory, external and internal demand by vehicle type, etc. Next is meteorological data. The data consists of physical parameters which can be measured directly from the environment aspects like temperature, rainfall, wind direction, cloud cover, cloud layer, humidity, etc. It is useful for teaching children geography and science subjects. Financial data. The data related to finance, purchases and sales, savings, etc. is called finance data. In school conditions, finance data can include curriculum materials, furniture, technology, equipment, books, and other materials. Now, the next is scientific data. The fact collected through specific methods for specific objectives is known as scientific data. It is collected through experiments conducting under controlled conditions. All these type of data is of very great importance for the changing times, and the teacher can use this to strengthen the learning process. According to the McKinsey Global Institute 2011, if the size of data is beyond the ability of managing, capture, store, or analyze by common database softwares, this data is known as big data. In more simple words, we can say that big data is a collection of data that is huge in volume, yet growing exponentially with time. Basically, big data is also a data, but with huge size. Big data is a field which deals with different ways of analysis, systematic extraction of information, or deal with large and complex data sets by data processing application softwares. Now we'll discuss about the characteristics of big data. So, the general characteristics of big data are volume, variety, value, velocity, veracity, or variability. So, let's discuss them in detail. First characteristic is volume. Big data is related to huge size of data. The data can be called big data only if its volume is large. So, whether a particular data can actually be considered as a big data or not is dependent on volume of data. Therefore, volume is the most important characteristic of big data. The next aspect of big data is variety. Variety is actually about data which is taken from heterogeneous sources that can be structured or unstructured. Big data is all about its variety in different forms and details of information. During earlier days, spreadsheets and databases were the only source of data considered. Nowadays, data in the form of emails, photos, videos, monitoring devices, PDFs, audio, etc. are all being considered in analysis application. The next characteristic is value. As in big data, various sources can be used, so various useful information can be extracted from these resources. The next characteristic is velocity. The term velocity refers to the speed of generation of data. Velocity is about the speed of creation and collection of data. The data is only full of potential when it is generated and processed in a fast speed. The velocity of big data works with the speed of data from different sources such as networks, social networking websites, mobile devices, sensors, etc. Last characteristic is veracity or variability. It is the chance of finding biasness, any kind of abnormality and any noise in data. So all these were the characteristics of big data. Now, what are the sources of big data? So, archives, public web, social media, digital library, school records, such as of students, faculties, teachers, resources, and achievement details and visitor books are all the sources of big data. Now, let us understand them in detail. Archive is a collection of historical records or the physical places they are located in. It contains documents from primary sources that have gathered over the period of an individual or organization's lifetime, and these are saved to show the details and function of that individual or organization. Next is public web. This comprises big data which is widespread and accessible easily. Data on the web is available to all individuals and companies is considered in public web. Social media is another picture of big data which has a widespread availability all across the world, and it is a driver of the global conversation. Its huge size, high update speed, and range of content modalities makes it massive. Social data is taken from the likes, comments, tweets and retweets, photos and video uploads. These are uploaded and shared through social media platforms. Next, visitor book is written by visitors when they visit to a public building by writing their names and addresses, and they also write some remarks, which is helpful. Next is digital library. Digital library is also known as digital repository and digital collection. It is an e-database of digital objects which includes text, images, audio, video or other digital media formats. Now, what are the types of big data? So, there are three forms of big data: structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. The first form of big data is structured. So, the data is called structured when it is systematically arranged and stored, processed, as well as accessed in any fixed format. Example of a structured data is an employee table in a database is an example of structured data. As you can see, all this is arranged in a tabular format and can be easily interpreted is an example of structured data. So the next form of big data is unstructured. When the data is not arranged properly and not in any fixed form to be understood clearly, it is called unstructured. The unstructured data creates multiple challenges in processing and analyzing stage. It is usually in the form of heterogeneous data source that can be a combination of text files, photos, videos, etc. Analyzing and processing unstructured data is very difficult and time-consuming process. Data cannot be useful in its unstructured form like nowadays. Many organizations have massive data available with them, but they do not know what can be the utility of such data and how it can be beneficial for them. An example of unstructured data is when you search anything on Google, then the output returned by Google search is an example of unstructured data. Next is semi-structured big data. Semi-structured data may include both forms of data. Semi-structured data can be structured in form, but it is actually not defined clearly. With example, a table definition in relational DBMS. Example of semi-structured data is a data represented in XML file. Example of semi-structured data is presented on your screen. This is a personal data stored in an XML file. The next topic is data sets, a collection of related set of information which is formed by separate elements and can be manipulated as an entity by a computer. In more simple words, a data set is a collection of data. For example, the test score of each student in a particular class is a data set. In this, the score of each student is datum. Some other examples are local climatological data curated by National Center for Environmental Information and universal access to reproductive health curated by World Health Organization. Now, what is database? An electronic system used by organization for easy access, manipulation and upgradation of data is known as database. A database is usually controlled by Database Management System (DBMS). Together, the data in DBMS along with applications that are associated with them are referred to as database system, often shortened to just database. Some example of DBMS are Microsoft Access, IBM, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle. The next topic is data science. Data science is an umbrella term. It covers the entire data cycle. Data science is about extracting knowledge from data. Data analytics is the discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful pattern of data. It involves applying an algorithm or mechanical process to derive insights. Big data with the help of data analytics can be helpful to improve decision making. The data science process. These are the steps that are involved in the data science process. In this, we reach from raw data to conclusions. The first phase is of raw data, in which we collect the raw data. Second phase is in which we process data, organize, classify, and tabulate it. In third phase, we do is data cleaning. For example, sometimes there is incomplete response, so there is a need to refine or clean the data. Now, if the data is ready, then directly a model can be developed by data modeling, and if still changes are needed to be done, then the data goes in exploratory data analysis. Then again, the same steps repeats. After modeling, visualizing data will help us to read the data easily. This data can be used as a secondary data known as data product. And after all this, the data can be used in real environment for various purposes. Thank you. And for the remaining topics, watch the next video.